Hey there, my name is Ryan Manfredi. I'm a captain down at B Shift at Station 50. I'm also the B Shift coordinator for the peer support team. And we're going to start doing some of these videos and some training to we're going to add them to the FDC platform for you guys to hopefully refer back to and use at your leisure and kind of get the word out there a little bit more about peer support. I know it's been growing over the last couple of years, and we're trying to get just more involvement and more awareness for you guys out there. So with that, today I'm going to talk a little bit about some critical incidents. When you guys are involved in critical incidents at your station, I'm going to give you guys some advice and a couple of definitions just for your awareness as we move forward. As peer support, we typically get a lot of calls to check in with crews that were on a potential critical incident. Anytime we get a call like that, we're more than happy to call, and typically we'll call the captain and just check in to see, hey, how's your crew doing? We heard you guys were on a bad call. Most times, the captain says, I've checked with my crew and they're good to go. We're fine. Thanks for checking in. But we don't need anything right now, which is great. And typically, we'll follow up with an email, and we'll just clear that to the captain too. And we'll send an email out with just some reference material, some things to watch out for over the long term. And that way, the captain and the crew kind of have some information at their fingertips if they want it to refer back to if they don't start feeling well over the following weeks. Some things we want to watch out for as far as peer support, we don't really want to talk people into having issues, so we're also not going to hound you over and over and over and constantly check in. We may check in depending on the call a week or week and a half later, just, hey, is everybody still doing okay? But if we're not going to call every third day and just constantly say, hey, you guys okay? Are you okay? That's not what we're here for. We're here to kind of support you if you feel like maybe you don't feel right or somebody in your crew is not acting right or there might be something else going on. We're here to kind of support and lead you guys through some of that stuff and get you resources and hopefully give you some coping skills to move forward in your career. So as firefighters, we typically are able to compartmentalize our emotions on calls. It's great for us to be able to do that in those situations. However, when the call is over, we also need to be able to process those emotions and just make sure we're having good coping skills to process what happened. If we don't process well though, and we go home and we continue to have those same reactions to things at home, that's where that disconnect happens with wife, husband, kids. And that's why some of us, myself included, you get accused of being emotionless and not engaging with everybody. And that's something to watch out for because you're detaching your emotions from what's going on at home and you're still compartmentalizing. So you want to be able to process some of that stuff. So what to do if you are on a call that's a critical incident and you think you guys your crew may have had an issue with it? We will probably check in if we're aware of it, or if somebody calls us and says, hey, do you mind checking in? There's also a diffusing that we can do. Everybody seems to be aware of debriefings. We don't do a whole lot of debriefings anymore. Those are big. They're kind of planned out a day or two after the incident. It involves everybody that was on the call. Diffusing typically happens within 8 hours of the incident with your crew. It's kind of an easy way to describe it. So typically we would go out to your fire station, we'll take you out of service so you don't get a call, and we'll kind of just talk about the incident. We won't get too deep into things, but it helps us as peer support to kind of help you guys process it. And as peer support, we can also kind of maybe see if there's somebody in the crew that is maybe dealing with or having trouble dealing with that incident compared to other individuals. We all have different issues going on, and calls affect us all differently. It's important for us to kind of be aware of that even though I'm doing fine after an incident, somebody on the ambulance or somebody else that I don't maybe know very well is having an issue with those incidents. So the diffusing kind of helps us hopefully capture those individuals and get them help before it gets worse down the road. Another definition is cumulative stress. Another word for that is burnout. And I think especially now with the way COVID's been kind of grinding on us for the last 18, 19 months, we're starting to see that a lot more with sick leave and mandatories and brownouts and stuff like that. So that is kind of a slow stress that kind of grinds on you over time. It's hard to notice it. But basically what happens are your coping skills in dealing with that stress on your off days deteriorates. And I know we're all not having a whole lot of good off days or days off, mainly because we're working a lot. But try and work on those coping skills, get some good sleep on your days off, and try and do things that kind of detach from work a little bit and get the rest that you guys need out there. Okay, so another thing we're looking at as peer support is that our workforce is very young. We have a lot of individuals that have a long way to go in their careers, and we're trying to foster an environment, hopefully starting at the chief officer and company officer level, to where the discussion of peer support and maybe some of the issues mentally are not as taboo to talk about around the firehouse. So with that, that's kind of why we check in a lot, and we'll send out resources. And if you guys ever need information or want us to come out and talk, feel free to talk. We've got about 65 people that are in our peer support group. And it doesn't, you can go on there and just pick somebody out and ask them if they can come by and just kind of have a discussion with you guys. Okay, so with that, just some advice for you guys out there, and for me, as it starts at the chief officer level and also company officer level, is to start building those relationships with everybody on your crew or in your battalion. The more we get to know each other, know what our hobbies are, family members, what's going on in our lives. I know a lot of us maybe want to keep that stuff private, but it's important, in my opinion, since we live together for a lot of the time, to build those relationships so that builds trust within the crew and within the battalion. That helps both ways. So as a company officer, you can start to see when maybe your firefighters or engineers are starting to deteriorate a little bit. Maybe their coping skills are starting to falter a little bit, and you can start reaching out and seeing if they need some additional support. With that trust, there's also the opportunity for them to open up if they are having those issues, and they're able to recognize it. Also, it helps them keep an eye on you as company officers. If you're having issues and you feel like you can't hound them with that, they may be able to see that your habits are changing, that you're a little bit more hot-tempered, you're irritable, and that trust is already there, that maybe they can pull you aside and go, hey, Cap, looks like something's going on, do you want to talk about it? Those avenues need to be opened up. It needs to start with building relationships and opening up those trust avenues. If you do feel like there was a call that was pretty intense and you're doing fine, but you don't think maybe your crew, maybe they're fine, but you're not quite sure, maybe you're a new captain or your crew members are new, call us up for diffusing. We're more than happy to come out and talk to you guys. Like I said before, it's supported by the chiefs to help the mental well-being of our members here. So if you do have a critical incident, your crew's doing fine, or you had a debriefing, anything like that, please continue to check in with your crew. And it goes for chief officers as well. That doesn't mean you have to ask them if they're doing okay with the call. Just see how they're doing. How's your 4-day? How's the family doing? Just see how that conversation goes. If you've built that relationship up and that trust, you'll know if the conversation is a little off. It doesn't mean you have to throw red flags. It's just something to keep an awareness of. Fatigue is going to play a big part in this. We're all pretty tired. That's something to be aware of. It may not even be a critical incident that is starting to erode those coping skills. It might just be that people are tired. They're tired of going on the same calls over and over. Or they're tired of sitting on walls. So that might be something to have on your radar. Okay, maybe I need to talk to the battalion chief to get this person onto an engine, get them a rotation off the medic, stuff like that. So have those conversations on every set just to see how guys are doing, to check in with them. On your days off, when you get them, try and have a good night's sleep. Try and stay away from alcohol. Do things with people. Put your phones away. Get outside. And do things to get your mind off of what's going on at work, so you can decompress and process things a little bit. Go have fun with friends, but really try and stay away from the substances or the alcohol so you get a good solid night's sleep. It's easy to go try and blow off steam, go to the bar and get something to drink, and it might feel like the right thing to do at that time. It's just going to take you several days to recover from that, on top of all the lack of sleep you've been getting at work. Try and get some rest whenever you get a chance. If you're at work and you've been working a medic, you're on 72 or 96 and you got 1 day off, talk to your company officer, go, hey man, I'm fried, I slept a lot yesterday, but I'm still tired, and try and grab a nap during the day. Company officers should be aware that the medics are getting hammered right now and be open to helping guys rehab a little bit and get the rest that they need to perform their jobs. We're hanging in there, we're trying to get through this. I think we're gonna get through it just fine. But we need to try and take care of each other and watch out for those signs and symptoms with each other, and so we can continue to provide the service to the public around here. And that's it for peer support.